of living life. One is you keep living your life as a pursuit of happiness, where you keep chasing happiness. And there's a second way of also living life, which is you live your life as an expression of happiness.
Welcome back to the Self Leadership Lab, a place where we explore how we can lead ourselves so we can show up and lead others better. My definition of self-leadership is the ability to govern your inner world so that you can act with clarity, discipline, and purpose in the outer world. Part of this definition includes your mental, spiritual, and physical health. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the mental health aspects of self-leadership. My guest is Shalin Desai. Shalin has spent years teaching meditation and breathwork to leaders, veterans, students, and professionals across the country. Shalin, welcome to the lab. Shalin, it is so wonderful to have you on the show today. Why don't we start off by tell us a little bit about the moment in your life that you decided to go down the path of breathwork and meditation and eventually get into the place where now you teach and show others how to do it.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. First of all, thanks for having me here today. And, for me, it's not just been one moment. I believe it was kind of things leading up to it. And I got introduced to the art of living sky breath meditation at the age of 16 years old. And my mom had done it and she absolutely loved it. And I saw like how it really helped her. And I'm close with my mom. So she also got me into it. And she's like, you got to do this thing. You got to do this thing. And, at the age of 16, you don't care much about breath work, about meditation. You have other priorities in your life. But just because my mom asked me, I kind of got into it. And I absolutely loved it. When I did the course, I could see right away that my focus was improving. And when I didn't have to study that much, that was a big part. I had more time to play sports and less time to be with the books. Because of this thing, I was able to focus more. And I'm like, this is a cool thing, this is nice stuff. I can definitely use that. And then since then I've been practicing for some time. And then when I started working, I went to engineering school and then I started working. And I realized how this is also really helping me with my professional life. And I'll share an anecdote. This was during my initial years of my career. We would have this annual performance ratings that we would get. And during one of the performance ratings, my boss at that time, he had typed in our online system that Shalin is the only guy I see smiling on the Monday morning. And I'm like, I did not know that was that big of a deal, but people notice they like to have happy, pleasant people around you. And then the more I started practicing, the more I started diving into it. In 2006, I went for my teacher's training course, and by that time, it was very clear to me that I don't want to just keep this to myself. I want to share this with more people. This is something that so many people can benefit from. And that's how I became an instructor and I started teaching programs and workshops. And now I've taught courses in 63 cities around the country. So I've traveled quite a bit and I've been teaching for some time now.
Wow. What a great story and really cool that you found this, which, it defines what self-leadership, the way I define it in. I mean, you settled your inner world and then now you're giving it to the outer world, and you were giving it to the outer world before you were even teaching, because just in your actions, like you said, the boss who noticed you with your smile on your face and all this. So this, you mentioned in that, I know it's breathwork meditation, but you mentioned sky breathing. That's a new thing for me. Could you explain that? And is it possible to explain it on a podcast? Because I know when we talked earlier, you said it's a multiple day process to learn the system, but can you kind of summarize it for us so we kind of, where to go from?
Absolutely. So sky breathing was introduced by Gurudev, Sri Ravi Shankar. He started the Art of Living Foundation. Art of Living is among the world's largest volunteer-based organizations now, with presence in 180 countries. And I got connected with Gurudev right after I'd done my Art of Living program and I'd learned my sky breathing. I got connected with him and he really inspired me. That was the main thing that got me going on the path, because he travels on the globe, and through his vision is to create a stress-free and a violence-free society. Millions of people around the globe have benefited from that. And that was an inspiration for me that, someone who's given their life to upliftment of the society, and how I can play my small part in it. And that's what got me involved and inspired actually. And the sky breath meditation, it's a rhythmic breathing technique that you get to learn. There's a connection between breath and emotions. If you've observed, how's your breath when you're happy? Have you observed?
It's calm and gentle. Is that the observation that most people get?
Exactly. Exactly. It's like calm, gentle, light breathing. How's your breath when you're frustrated? If you observe, it's like a long sigh. Have you observed that? And how's your breath when you're angry?
Normally like shortened and then big burst.
Exactly.
And it's irregular, right? Yeah.
Exactly. It's short, sometimes heated breath. There's a connection between breath and emotions. For every emotion, there's a corresponding breathing pattern. The interesting thing is that the reverse is also true. With the help of the breath, you can much better regulate your emotions. And the funny thing is, like, neither at school nor at home we have ever been taught how to manage your own mind. We've been told, don't get angry, don't get stressed, don't have these negative emotions, you know, all kind of things we've been told what to do and what not to do. But we have never been taught what to do when these negative emotions come up. And the mind is such an interesting thing. You cannot just control your mind at the level of the mind. But with the help of the breath, you can much better manage your mind.
Oh, that's really
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's. I mean, is it something that you could walk us through in a brief instance? Just I get it. So like when you're angry, you try to keep that same. I guess the idea is to keep that same rhythmic flow when you're just in normal conditions, right? Just kind of control the breath, which will to soften the emotions. But is there a simple way you could, show me, walk me through it? It's a lab, so you can use me as the experiment right here across the screen if you so desire.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you one thing about the sky breathing is that it's what's really cool about the sky breathing. When I started teaching the program, that's when it really hit me, like how powerful it is. I'd been practicing it for so long. I'd seen it, how it's helping me. But when I started teaching it, and when people started sharing their experiences, because you breathe in during the sky breathing, you breathe in certain rhythms. And because of that, you're able to let go of a lot of this pent up emotions, sort of suppressed things and all that. And in the end of the breath work, people naturally start feeling very light, very calm, and at the same time more focused. Uh, the interesting thing, Bobby, I observed is, see, when you're too focused for too long, you're not relaxed. And when you're calm and relaxed, you're not focused. But after this sky breathing, it brings you to this very unique state where you are focused at the same time the mind is calm.
Mm.
And that is the key, how to have that focus, that sharp attention, that sharp focus, at the same time having that calm state of mind. And that's what the sky breathing does. And at some point of time during the podcast, I can show you one of the breath work, one of the breathing techniques that we teach in the sky breathing. I can teach, and we can follow along with that. And we can do that sometime during the podcast also.
Yeah, that would be very helpful because, and when I think of breath work, I think of the simple things that probably most of my listeners know is, box breathing or, um, well, box breathing is the only one that's coming to mind right now. But, and I know sometimes that works, but then sometimes when you're really stressed and that sort of thing, and I think that's the connection, at least for me, between the breathing and the meditation. Do you see a correlation between the two? And can you give us any tips on that? Because I know a lot of times when you're breathing, you're so focused on the breathing, but what do you do when the thoughts start creeping in and the breathing becomes more labored and the meditation kind of goes haywire? I know all of this is a practice, and whatever we learn today, we're not going to immediately be able to do it. Like, it takes years probably of dedication to it. But to talk to me a little bit about how important the meditation is also in connection with the breath work, or do you even see them as separate? Do you see them as the same?
Actually, that's a very good question, because this is something a lot of people have the same question. And many times when people come to my courses also, they either tried an app or gone to YouTube and they have done some meditations on YouTube and so on. And I mean, I so often I hear that I tried this app and it just did not work for me because It worked the first few times, but then I close my eyes, and then all I keep getting is thoughts after thoughts. And that's where I found that the sky breathing is so unique because you learn the whole thing in a course, and then you start practicing at home every day, and you just 10 minutes practice the sky breathing. It naturally brings your mind to a very meditative state, because that's a key. You sit with your eyes closed, but your mind is still traveling to thousands of places. And what if you're able to cultivate, you teach your mind to be in a way that it naturally, effortlessly comes to the present moment. And that happens through the sky breathing. And one myth that people have, that it takes a long time to cultivate that. I found that not just for me, when I teach the programs, people start feeling that state of mind right away from the very first time they practice it. And that's that effective. A few years ago, we did the Yale University did a research on the sky breathing. They did a control group of students. There was one control group doing the sky breathing, second control group doing the mindfulness-based stress reduction, and the third control group had Yale's own emotional intelligence program, and the fourth control group, they're not doing anything, they just to try it, practice, just being there for the control group. And they found out that the sky breathing was the most effective with students. And it really, like, I saw that people were practicing, the anxiety went down, the depression went down, the stress hormone, cortisol, went down, the well-being hormone in those people who were practicing, the well-being hormone went down. There's a lot of science behind it on how it works, and a lot of science-backed techniques that, because, I'm an engineer, but engineer by profession. I believe, for me, I just don't believe something because someone tells me. I want to look for the science behind it, the logic behind it. So initially I had those questions and all, but then more and more research keep coming out about how the sky breathing is so effective, and it's just mind.
So if I hear you right, the sky breathing can kind of be like two birds with one stone. It's the meditation and the breath work combined into one package. And now science has proven, at least in that one study, that it's more effective than, doing 2 or 3 different practices and or no practice at all. Am I right in that?
Exactly.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah. So yeah, I know when we first talked, I was very interested in it because I think, most busy professionals, most leaders, most any overachievers or even high achieving people in the world, there's all this underlying stress, right? And they'll say, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, I don't have time to do this, and I don't, have the patience or whatever. But I think I heard you in the opening say 10 minutes. We all have 10 minutes to start our day. And, you start with that kind of quiet anyways. I mean, there's a lot of writing out there today that talks about the benefit of your quiet mornings and setting your day up right. So I think 10 minutes a day is definitely promising. And then, to have that kind of peaceful, and something you said earlier too that really stuck out to me was about the presence of mind and how you had more time to do, schoolwork or activities or work, more focused, more energy. And that's something that I found in my journey too, is once you really kind of bring down the stress and the anxiety in your life, you do have more focus and you're more productive. So you still have 24 hours in a day. You just get more out of those 24 hours than you did the week, the month before. Can you talk a little bit more about the benefits that you've seen? Because then you've been doing it since you were 16. I don't know how old you are today, but you've been doing it for a while. Okay, yeah. 45. Okay, so you've been doing it for let's just say 30 years for simple math. As an engineer, that probably drives you nuts because I know it's 29, but that's all right. Yeah. So walk me through some of the benefits and basically, show the audience like what investing in breath work can do for them through your own life, and even you can use some of your clients too if you're free to share.
Yeah, Bobby, and that's it. It's you only have so much time in the day, and you want to optimize how you spend your time. And nowadays we live in the world where it's all about smartphones and smart stuff and all that. And I always tell people, there's only so much you can achieve by working hard. You also have to have the skill of working smart. And there's a very old anecdote. Mahatma Gandhi, he would always say that, today I'm so busy, I have so much work to do. I cannot meditate for half an hour. Today I have to meditate for 1 hour because I have so much work to do. So the more busy you are, the more stuff you have going on, the more is the need to meditate. And not only you're just more present, what I've really, really amazes me, and that's pretty cool, I found out, is that when you do all these things, when you're more present, your ability to enjoy life increases. You eat the same food, but when you're more present, when you're more calm, when you're more fully there, you're able to enjoy that food more. The time you spend with your kids, you love to spend time with your kids. The time you spend with your kids also appreciate when you're more present. And that's what the breath work, the sky breathing has done for me and so many people, millions of people around the globe. The about 800 million people have benefited from the Art of Living programs around the globe. So a lot of people have tried this thing and benefited from it. And I've seen that again and again, because you're so present, everything appears more beautiful. Everything appears more pleasant in life. Not only it appears pleasant to you, you also appear more pleasant to people around you. And this is something especially what the world is going through right now, we can all use some more happiness and some more pleasantness.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think anyone would disagree that we can all use more happiness and peace in our lives.
Yeah.
What are some signs that you see from people that probably need this the most, or what's a sign that like I can look at to say, hey, I really need this in my life? Because a lot of times we're not self-aware of what's going on in us. So bring us a little more awareness of like, the type of people who need this. And I know you say probably you will say everybody, but think of the problem, the outliers, the people who think they're okay but really need it.
People who need this thing are the people who breathe and who are stressed. So if you have any of these two things going on for you, I think you need this thing, and you benefit. I don't see this as a luxury or something, an add-on skill. Nowadays, I see that this is more of a necessity. And I often joke with people that either you take medication, either you do meditation or you take medication. And it's like, we are one of the most developed nations on the planet, yet we are the most medicated country on the planet. And it's high time we prioritize the mental health. When, like your question, what kind of people can benefit from this thing? I feel like, we take shower every day, that is bodily hygiene. We brush our teeth every day, that is dental hygiene. And this breath work is a mental hygiene. The same way we prioritize in our life the bodily hygiene and the dental hygiene, we need to prioritize the mental hygiene also. Because we have, it's just, our attention span has become so less. Initially, people would spend watching long documentaries. Now people just browse to the Instagram reels because their attention is so less. You want to move on to the next thing right away. And if for you to be able to focus and do something better, this is so much required. A few years ago, I was teaching a course in New York at one of the largest banks in a country, actually, and it was a corporate workshop I was teaching. And then this one lady who was in the course, she was a VP with the bank at that time. And at the end of this 3-day workshop, she was sharing with me that last 1 year had been very tough on me. She's like, I went through such a bad divorce, such a bitter divorce. And she's like, once I got done with everything, I told myself that I need a break. So she kind of booked a vacation, a trip to Hawaii. And she's like, Shalin, one day I was sitting on this beautiful beach in Kauai, pristine beach, a beautiful, gorgeous sunset. And she's like, I was only able to enjoy that for 10 minutes. After that, my mind was again filled with the same thoughts of anger, betrayal, heartburn and whatnot. And she's like, that's when I realized that unless and until I fix my mind, I cannot even enjoy what I have in front of me. And she was sharing after the 3-day workshop that she took. She's like, yesterday I was going home, I was sitting in a cab, and how people are in New York, you keep in the honks and all that. She's like, nothing was bothering me. And that's when I realized like how important it is to have a peaceful state of mind, a happy state of mind. And, that's it. That's just an example. We may have all the comforts in life, but if you don't have peace of mind, if you're not able to enjoy them, what good are those things?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And going back to everyone who breathes and everyone who has stress, comment that you made, which I like a lot. I think a lot of people don't really know what stress is, right? They might not have mental stress, but they have stress in their bodies, inflammation, or some kind of, something's off all the time. And maybe they've been living with it for so long they just ignore it, or maybe they refuse to ignore it. So for the people who don't really have this mental strain, as the example that you gave, what benefits have you seen for people like that? Because I think, let me re-ask this question a little bit. Like what other types of stressors do you think this helps relieve that people may not even know they have in their lives?
You know, basically everything. What happens is that you keep putting up with stress for so long, and after some time, you end up having blood pressure, you end up having anxiety, you end up having, restlessness, because your body, your system can only take it for so long. And a lot of these diseases nowadays, they're psychosomatic, because your mind, you don't know how to deal with your mind, and you keep taking it, it starts showing up in your body. And I have a very simple definition of stress. Stress is that you have so much to do and you have so little time. And the way our life, the world is now, how the fast-paced life is, it's not possible to bring down the number of things you have to do. But if there's a way to increase the energy level, then naturally the stress will automatically come down. And with the help of the breath work and breathing exercise and all, your energy levels really go up. And because the energy levels are high, if you notice any time you feel low, it's also a time when your energy is low. You feel tired, you feel low because the energy is low. If there's a way to really increase that energy level and you to perform at the highest, that's what this thing does. And even once, every once in a while, you meet people and they're like, I don't have any stress in my life, and that's good. I tell them, when I first did the Art of Living course, I didn't have any stress in my life either. I was a happy 16-year-old kid. And but what it does is it prepares you for things that come in your life. Nobody's life is perfect. Life is going to have its ups and downs. And when the challenging times come, you're prepared for it. It's not like you start preparing for it when the challenges come in your life. You're prepared for it to begin with. And at the end of the day, it just helps you perform better in all aspects of life. I've had so many people whose relationships have improved, who've gotten better opportunities in their career, gotten more promotions and stuff because of practicing the sky breath meditation.
Yeah, I'm imagining if you feel better, you just perform better in general. And this is a relatively cheap way to do it, right? I mean, it's you're spending your time, you're going to be doing something anyways. You talked about scrolling on your phone or whatever. How about if we put that thing down? Because I like to ask people all the time, do you ever feel better after you spent 10, 15 minutes on your phone looking at these videos and these, I mean, sometimes you do, but you might see a cat eating like a cucumber or something like that.
Yeah.
That brings you joy. But I think what you're talking about is lasting joy, not this temporary movements. Like the lady you mentioned earlier could enjoy the sunset for 10 minutes. How about if you could enjoy the thought of that sunset for the next 10 days, 10 years even, right? And that's why I think this whole mindfulness and taking care of your mental health is so important. And a lot of times we think mental health as depression, anxiety, and for many of us, sadly, it's way too many people walk around with that, whether they're diagnosed with it or not. Too many people are in that category. But just overall dissatisfaction in the world today, it's staggering to see how people can't enjoy the day. I mean, how often do you say, good morning to someone and they say, what's good about it? Well,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
when we all say we want to be better and we want to feel better, what do you think the biggest blocker is for people to, try this meditation breath work out?
Well, the biggest thing, sometimes there are some misconceptions that, I don't know if this is for me or not. Second thing is they may have tried something in the past that did not work for them. And they're like, I don't know, I've tried the app, it did not. I joke with people that trying to learn meditation and breathwork using an app or watching a YouTube video is like trying to learn swimming watching a YouTube video. You have to dive in and you have to jump in and you have to work with an instructor and that's what really works for us in the Art of Living program. You learn it live with an instructor. Either it's in person or on Zoom, you do it live with an instructor. They guide you through the whole thing. And it's not just that once you've done it, you're done. There's a whole community of people who are also practicing. So what I've really found very powerful is that it's not just people do it once and then stop doing it, they continue doing it. Because that's one of the concerns people have that, I'm good at starting something new. I'm not that good at continuing with it. And if there's a way where you do it at the same time, you're so inspired to continue doing it for a long period of time, that's exactly what works with sky breath meditation.
Yeah. So walk me through a little bit about how your program works. Because I mean, I know you go to a workshop or a class or something like that, but how do you then reintegrate into society? Is there like follow on, sessions or, one-on-ones? You mentioned Zoom. Just walk me through the whole process because I'd like to understand a little bit better. And then also, may help people understand like, hey, this is something that I don't just do for a weekend or 5 days or however long your program is, and then I'm on my own. It sounds like you all have continuing support. So walk us through that a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a 3-day introductory course that people can take. Either they can do it online or in person. We used to do it only in person before, then the COVID came in. So we also introduced that on Zoom. But now I love to do it in person. That's actually, the connection is much better. So they can do it online or they can do it in person. And once they've taken the course, we have weekly meetups. So people can keep coming back and keep repeating their breath work once a week. And they can just come for 45 minutes and just do it once a week. Wherever they do the course in person, they do it. And at the same time, they have unlimited access to their instructors. So let's say someone has taken a course with me and they've done the course and they want to have a question after the course, they follow up after 1 month, 2 months, you're always able to access your instructor and connect with them and get your questions answered. And that's what I found is like really very, very helpful for people because sometimes they have questions, they have life questions, they have, different things come up. You're always able to connect with your instructors and they're able to guide you through it.
And then, so you're not alone. Yeah, that's
exactly.
good.
You're not alone. And people, after they've done this, they take the next steps. We have one of the next steps that people can take is something called a silent retreat. So they can, and then as a course, as the name says, you're in silence. It's over 3.5 days, half day and 3 full days from morning till night. You're there, and the meals, your lunch, breakfast, dinner, everything is there. You eat food that supports you going deeper in your meditation practice, and you do some very powerful meditations throughout the day for 3.5 days, and that is a game changer for so many people. I mean, I've been practicing sky breath for so long. At least 2 or 3 times in a year, I also go through the silent meditation, silent retreat, and it's very powerful.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned silent meditation, silent retreats, because I've thought about it. And for my listeners and people who know me, they're like, there's no way that guy could be silent for a few days. Do you, but in that token, do you think it's best to take the path you just described to do the breathwork, sky breath class and then jump into it? Is it kind of like a progressive path that you recommend to get the most benefit out of it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You take the sky breath, and the next step would be the silent retreat.
Okay. And you all do these, from my understanding, you do them all across the country. So there's probably a location near you, to use a marketing term, somewhere they can go look. And I mean, now's probably a good time. Just give the website. Of course, we'll put it in the show notes so people can give it to it. So in case they're interested in doing it, what's the website where they can reach you all?
They can just go to artofliving.org. So artofliving.org. They can just go to the website, and all the information is there on the website. You can access that. You can access where you can take the programs. You can even access how your journey will be after you've taken the program. Any questions you have, everything is there. And it's I find the website pretty cool, actually. It answers any questions that people may have, and they can take the next steps from going there.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And I know when we talked earlier, it's something that I want to look into and do because, like I said, you know this, and my audience knows this. I've been on a journey for 5 years, of 6 years now of healing myself and getting better. And the thing is there's always work you can do. You know, we never can stop making ourselves better. And maybe this is the token. And you've said it before. People say they've tried it. They, like you said, even YouTube, maybe they've gone to a class or a retreat in the past, but I think it's like anything. Once you start seeing the benefits of it, you're going to do more and more of it. It's like exercise. Maybe the first month or year of getting in shape is a little difficult, a little painful or whatever. But there comes a point, I think, in any change in habit or change in behavior that we do, that it becomes so important to us, it becomes a priority. And it sounds like certainly for you, this has become a priority. Probably many of your students that you've taught over the years, a priority. And it probably becomes less work and more, like you said, daily hygiene, daily maintenance, preventive maintenance, like you said,
Yeah.
meditation or medication. I heard a thing, and I didn't check it, but I heard it the other day on a podcast of a guy I really admire, and I don't think he just threw this thing out there, that the average American now is on 11 medications every day. And I'm sure that's a little skewed with all the transplants and things like that, because I know that, to get their organs to integrate back into their bodies, that they take a lot more. But um, you mentioned earlier, and I know we're not giving medical advice on this, neither one of us are qualified for that or anything, but we can observe what goes on around us. And I know through my journey, I went from being on 2 or 3 medicines to now zero. And at 40, almost 48 years old, that's unheard of. Actually, I think that to clarify, I think or people 60 or older are on 11 more medicines. It's just that came in. I want to clarify in case someone's screaming at the podcast right now saying this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And again,
Yeah.
like I said, if I'm wrong, fact check me, send me the studies. Anyone, please do it. But my point is, are you seeing, like, what are your observations? Give us a real example of someone that you've seen that's kind of like changed. And again, results may vary for each individual, of course, but like, what are some of the things you're kind of see? Because, I really want to sell this point home for people to go out and try this, because to me, it sounds like a very reasonable approach. It's non-invasive. It's not going to change. I mean, it's not mind changing, but yet it is mind changing, right? There's no shock or no medicine,
Yeah.
nothing to change the chemistry of your body unless you do it naturally and organically. But just walk us through a couple of examples if you can.
You know, to your point, when I first started teaching this program, back in the day, we would have this form where participants would have to fill out some of their medical history so we know, how to kind of customize things and all. Back in the day, it's not anymore. And so many people would list so many different medications on those forms. And I'm like, oh my God, are just people who are taking medications? Are these only people coming to the courses? And then I realized, like, this is so much common. This is so common for people to take medications. During my last annual visit to my primary care physician, so before the physician comes in, the nurse comes in, and they do some checkups and all. They ask you some questions, and then one of the questions, she's going through her questionnaire, and she's asking me, "What medications are you taking right now?" So, and I asked her, I'm like, "Why did you assume I'm taking a medication?" So she just kind of pulled back. Sat back on her chair and started laughing. She's like, because everyone is taking medications. I'm like, but it's a side effect. We have become a generation who's become so dependent on taking medications. And I've had so many of my participants, again, it's not like it's a substitute for any medications. That's not the case. But I've had so many of my participants whose insomnia has gone away. I don't know if you realize sleep is a big issue these days. People are not able to get proper sleep. It's one of it's the most expensive Google keywords. I found out that when you put on an ad on something on Google, sleep is the very expensive keyword, and people are not getting proper sleep. And I've had so many of my participants whose insomnia has gone away. I've had people come and share that they've started sleeping like a baby, and it's a luxury to be able to sleep properly these days. I've had participants whose anxieties have gone away, who's in huge benefit in the blood pressure and whatnot. So all kind of benefits I've seen over a period of time. Again, We're not giving any medical advice, and I'm not anytime saying that they should do it at the cost of taking their medications. You consult your physician and do whatever you got to do. But I have had those live examples, people telling how it's helped them with their sleep, with their anxiety, with blood pressure and whatnot.
Mm, yeah. And I mean, again, for something that's so easily obtainable, all you got to do is invest a little bit of a time. But I mean, imagine all the time you spend collecting these medications and going to doctor after doctor, visit after visit. We both live in bigger cities. It's, even though sometimes an appointment's easy to get, when you get there, it's 30 minutes wait, 40 minutes wait, whatever. Why not invest that time in something that you can do in the comfort of your own home? Do it every single day. And like it sounds, you're going to get immediate results of some sort, more clarity, more focus, more all these things. Before we get into doing an example of some breath work, since this is a leadership show, where do you see breath work? Where's the intersection between that and leaders or leadership in your experience in this field?
I think for leaders, this is the must, because any decision a leader takes, it affects so many people in their organization, in their group. A few years ago, I was teaching this course at one of the largest consulting firms in our country. I won't say the name, but one of the largest consulting firms. And every single participant in that course, this consulting firm, they had for that cohort, they had this annual gathering in Dallas. And they invited me to teach them this sky breath meditation. Every single person in that course, they will be in their early 30s, mid 30s, but super high achievers. Every single person is either Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Wharton graduate. Every single person in the room. Super smart, super intelligent. And when I was teaching the course, I would see that they would even challenge many of the things I'll share. I'll teach them because that's how they're configured. That's how they're tuned, to challenge things, to question things. So they would challenge a lot of things and question a lot of the things. But on the last day of the course, when they were sharing their experiences, they had the HR team, HR leadership had come to get people's experiences. And some of these people are sharing that, you give us everything best. We get the best salaries. We stay in 5-star hotels. We always travel first class. But this is the first time you gave us the best training on how to manage your own mind, how to manage it. Because, your leaders, they have so much going on. And if so many things to manage at the same time, you have your, from morning you wake up till night you go to bed, or lots of something or other going on. If there is a way to better manage your own mind, to have more calm and more peace in your mind, so every decision you take has a good effect and it's a long-lasting effect. So, I believe for leadership, this should be an indispensable thing. You have to do it. You have to practice it.
Yeah. Our minds are the thing that we walk around with every waking moment, and then even our sleeping moment and our subconscious, our minds are always going. It's like it's a machine that never stops, but yet we don't
Yeah.
we don't spend any time maintaining it or taking care of it, or very few of us do. I know there are people like you out there that are doing it and people who are working on it. But I do really think I agree with you. If you can control your mind and earlier you were talking about your emotional state, and so many people make decisions based on emotions, but emotions are fleeting, and typically they're the worst case scenario or a ramped up experience. Even happiness, a lot of time, extreme happiness is an emotion. You probably shouldn't be making decisions where you're laughing and like that. You got to kind of have that level mindedness. And it sounds to me like the biggest selling point for the breath work, at least as I'm receiving it, is that level kind of playing field of your mind, your emotions, your nervous system. Everything's in alignment. So just as a car, when they race these cars at on these tracks, they're at the peak performance. But like as soon as they blow a valve, or they lose their brakes or something like that, it all goes haywire. Well, what can we do to control that? And it sounds to me like breath work, meditation, all that stuff will help us govern our minds a little bit better, which like I told you to start this podcast, I've redefined how I see self-leadership. The classical definition is lead yourself so you can lead others. But what does lead yourself mean? Well, it's governing your inner world. And what's the core of your inner world? In my thinking, it's your mind. And so anything you can spend and invest in your mind is going to implicate in your spiritual health, your physical health, just your overall well-being, as you've described here many times. All right. So do you feel like giving us a little bit of example? Do you feel comfortable? Can we do it
Yeah,
for
let's
just a
do it.
couple minutes?
Yeah, what I can do is I can teach you a breathing exercise. It's called, the Sanskrit name is Bhastrika. The English name we call it the bellows breathing. This is just a small taste of what you learn in the actual sky breathing, the 3-day workshop. It's not the sky breathing, but just a small taste of it. And this is very good anytime you have any congested nasal passages or anything like that. It helps clear them out. And you're feeling a bit tired or dull, you just do a few rounds of this breathing exercise and it will instantaneously energize you. So,
Perfect.
are you ready for it?
Yeah, I mean, it's allergy season here in Virginia, so yeah, I could really use it today because it hit me hard, the whole congestion, everything. So let's see. Yeah, yeah, give me some
Let's do
relief.
it.
I like it.
Yeah. So, we may have to sit back. I'll just adjust my chair a little bit, and I'll also adjust my camera when I show this breath work, so you get an idea. What we'll do is we'll have loose fists by the shoulders, like this. And as you breathe in, the hands go up and the fists open up. So I'm just the fists open up like this. Yeah, hands go up straight and the fists open up. And as you breathe out, the hands come down and the fists close. So after just the, yeah. So when you breathe in, the hands go up and the fists open up. And as you breathe out, the hands come down and the fists close. And you're breathing in and out through your nose. And it is forceful breathing. So it's not like regular. It's like, got it?
Okay,
Your
so
hands
like,
are, so the fists open up and they go up and they close when
yeah,
you come down.
yeah, you can't see it, but yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, so
Yeah, but the mouth is closed. You're breathing in and out through your nose.
all
And
through the nose. Okay.
breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. And hands are going up and down at a moderate pace. And you're breathing in and out forcefully. So we'll do a few rounds of that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, that's awesome.
So loose breath by the shoulders. Just a normal breath in and breathe out. And for the balanced breath, breathe in, out, in, out, in, out. Continue. And relax. You can rest your palms on your knees, palms facing the ceiling, and just relax. We'll do one more round. Loose fists by the shoulders. Just a normal breath in and breathe out. And breathe in, out, in, out, in, out. Hands up, down, up, down. Continue. And relax. Rest your palms on the knees, palms facing the ceiling. And relax completely. We'll do one final round. Loose fists by the shoulders. Normal breath in and breathe out. And breathe in, out, in, out. Hands up, down, up, down. Continue. And relax. Rest your palms on your knees, palms facing the ceiling. And just relax completely. You can just take some deep breaths in and out. Slowly and gradually, you may open your eyes. Good.
Wow. I I got to tell the audience here that completely gave me a whole ton of energy. The little sinusy headache I've got, it's gone. And what was that? 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So for those of you listening, I mean, you can watch this on YouTube and you can watch and see the demonstration and go through and do this. But wow, yeah. I mean, that's just like a little bump right there. And you're right. It clears up that whole congestion, sinusy thing that, I don't know, you're out Midwest. I don't know if it's gotten to you yet or not, but we all
It
know
is.
it's coming, this
Yeah.
the springtime. Yeah, and it's little things like that. Like, I mean, you can go take a pill that's going to make you drowsy and clear the symptoms up, but you're tired. But I have this energy in my body. It's like I can feel it tingling, right?
Yeah.
I did. I lifted my arms a little bit earlier today, so I was a little tired there. But overall, like it just raised my entire state. Like I feel like so much energy from that short time. So thank you for walking us through that and giving us a little, like we said, a little taste. I mean, that was what 3 4
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, this was just like a 1% of what you would actually experience in the sky breathing. Just 1% of that. This is, if you really enjoyed what we just did right now, you should see the real thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. No. We talked about it in our intro talk, and it's something I'm definitely going to explore and go after there and see because, like I said, I think the mind is so, as we've talked about on this for the duration of this podcast, the mind is so critical in getting that peace and tranquility. We spend so much time trying to improve our bodies, our physical strength, our, stamina, all these things. But, why would you do all that to live longer? Longevity is such a big thing today. Why would you want to live longer if you're miserable inside in between your two ears? And that's something I see as a very foundational, a pillar to self-leadership and leadership in general. But I really want to implore to everyone how much I believe in this. And I'm so honored that you came on today to share a little bit of your journey and then what you do and what your organization does. Um, do you have any closing thoughts or anything else you'd like to add to the conversation? Give some encouragement or you know, persuade people who maybe are on the fence on this whole idea of breath work and meditation.
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me, Bobby. I really enjoyed that conversation. It was pretty. I loved how you asked all the right questions. Actually, just pretty cool. And I always tell people that you have two ways of living life. One is you keep living your life as a pursuit of happiness, where you keep chasing happiness. And there's a second way of also living life, which is you live your life as an expression of happiness, where you're not just constantly chasing happiness, chasing things in your life, but every single thing you're doing in your life is an expression of happiness. And that can only happen when there's happiness within, when there's joy within. And you're not trying to get something, but you're here to give. You're here to give joy. You're here to spread happiness. And that's what uh, every human being should fight for. and it's
Yeah.
quite beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. And thank you too for all the work that you do, because I know this isn't your full-time job and this is just your passion project. And it's so inspiring to see people like you out there who are giving their time, their energy, their efforts to make the world a better place. So thank you for everyone that you've helped, but thank you for helping me today as well, and for taking time to share this beautiful journey with the audience today. So thank you.
Wow.
So for all of you who are listening, just remember that self-leadership begins in your mind. If you can create the stillness inside yourself, you can then create the clarity, the vision, the passion to go out there and do what you need to do. Take what Shalin taught us today, apply it to your lives, seek out breathwork and meditation. Until next time, as always, I'm Bobby. Enjoy your week. Keep leading yourself. We'll see you next time.